Alrighty. Let's get this show on the road. We got a long one in here today, boys. I'm your boss, Joe Boss, and welcome to another daily plan. We got a few things here on the table today. Most importantly and imminently, we have US CPI coming on through. Just let me triple and quadruple check. All the music good. All the music is good. There we go. All seems well on the music end. We got about 90 minutes here to kill until US CPI, so this is going to be a longer hangout stream towards the beginning, and then we'll kind of ramp up how serious we get towards CPI. How does that sound? I've already been up for several hours today. Woke up at, I think, 2:30. I woke up about a half an hour earlier today because I got a notification. Actually, I think I woke up a couple hours early because I got a notification about some information on the German Green Party saying, hey, we don't want to do a debt break deal. So that got me out of bed this morning. I'm looking here at the Japanese equities markets, and if we do see Japanese wages continue to increase, because we are getting, I believe, Shunto information here, like Bank of Japan. Yeah. On March 14th, the results of the 2025 Shunto union wage negotiations will be released, informing the BoC's outlook on inflation. And an early advance Shunto result was released on March 6th. So between March 12th and 19th, we will get significant wage Shunto updates. Between 14th and these dates, yeah. So a rate hold is expected at the next meeting, but if these wage numbers are good, then it's going to increase the rate hike odds. Right. I know this says cut, but I believe that's a typo. Anyways, we have movement on the upside there. Check out, ooh, yeah, that is still looking pretty bad there for the UK equities market. How about the S&P? S&P is kind of holding flat. How about the NASDAQ? NASDAQ is doing a bit better. I'd rather be long the NASDAQ today, just looking at the relative lows and the relative strength. Yikes. And Dow is lagging behind. I've been up for 15 hours. Jeez. Alright, you're a beast. Holy hell. You are a beast. Then again, I know that these streams sometimes can be on the later, so let's check out the Oz 200. It's been pretty stable, volatility pretty highly autocorrelated. This was an easy market to be short. You had a little bit of a bump back here, but it didn't make a higher high. Like, this was a super easy. Anyone who was short this, like way up here, just had a super easy trade. And I'm not sure if we're gonna get this bounce or not. I'm not too sure. We should really have the Canadian equities market here. I really should do that. So yeah, there's the Nikkei, there's the TopX. Short Aussie dollar. All right, let's go ahead and check it out. First things first, yield spreads, which are still pretty damn positive, sadly. Sadly for shorts, that is. And they're pretty alright at the moment, in my opinion. They're pretty alright. On the NZ side of things, they've improved compared to a couple of days ago when we last checked them out. And Great British Pound also has been holding up fine. I think, yeah, compared to yesterday, I think yesterday had like a 9. Yeah, a 9 on the yield spreads. So these yield spreads are weaker, don't get me wrong. They're about closer to 2 points here on the duration, some weaker. But that's still an 8. That's still super positive on the yield spreads. Just for a frame of reference, duration sums past plus or minus 3 is when, you know, there's an alert function that you can set up that just goes off when yield spreads are close to or crossing -3, +3. And Aussie New Zealand, it looks like the Aussie's gonna, I mean, it's very flat on the yield spreads right now, so it's not easy to tell at the moment what direction yield spreads are moving this. Euro CAD seems to be holding in there. Euro Swissy, man, negative yield spread all the way down. We got a little bit of positive move there, and then the negative yield spreads immediately came in, right? So yeah, that's a good expectation. You don't meet all your expectations. I mean, just look at this last one that I set, right? That was on the greens saying literally yesterday, oh, we might, we're really hopeful about getting a deal done, right? Like an hour after I draw this little arrow, but I'm stubborn. I don't delete these arrows, right? I set an expectation. I can hold on to it. Oh wow, dollar CAD shorts look pretty good at the moment. I mean, I say that just looking at the yield spreads and looking at the indicators, but I do have to say I'm not generally too happy with the tariff risks around Canada, especially if Carney is stupid enough to try and get a trade war with the United States, right? Especially if Carney is that stupid. So long EU, short AU, that's a nice way of having some dollar neutral exposure, kinda. I mean, euro is moving a lot, so we'll see. And then we have all the yen pairs, and then we have dollar. And so the yen is weakening on the day, but the yield spreads are getting a tad better. The short term and the intermediate term compared to 2 days ago. Yeah. Compared to 2 days ago, we are a point higher. From -4.6 to -3.6. So these yield spreads are improving, but they are still in an absolute negative area here. So, you know, maybe there's some short-term pullback, but no trend, right? Not like this green or this red, or, you know, all this green or all this red. You can see that the yield spreads are a pretty good indicator here on dollar yen. Not so much during this area. This was a weird area, but most of the time this is a really pretty good pair for us, right? I'm gonna turn down the music just a tad. I'm always turning down the music just a tad. But I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. What would a simultaneous Canadian and Chinese sell-off war/disagreement feel like for DXY? If it was, let's say if China and Canada trade wars started at the same time. That'd be kinda hard to say, because it would definitely impact US growth. However, those tariffs would also impact world growth. Because there's a lot of Western consumers who, and again, China's also going to get hurt a lot by that. So I think the negative GDP dip would come more so on the Chinese side, because the US still has a huge services industry compared to China. So the US would take a hit, right? And it would see higher inflation. But the Chinese would be in a way worse situation, because they don't have as many economic buffers to not doing trade with the US as the US does for not doing trade with China. And the same thing kind of goes in triplicate for the Canadians. So it would be bad for the US, but it would be worse for the Canadians and worse for the Chinese. You know, call it kind of crabs in a bucket mentality. But in this case, the US would be the crab at the top of the bucket. Oh, guess what just came in the squawk in financial juice? Canada to announce a $30 billion retaliatory tariff on the US in response to Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs. So we just got news. Let's see how that's going to move dollar CAD. Well, currently we're seeing a negative reaction out of it. So far, this is, I don't know, man. I would assume, I mean, don't get me wrong, aluminum tariffs, steel and aluminum tariffs, yeah, don't get me wrong, that'll make car prices more expensive if those actually go on, but there's a delay between when those cars roll off the production and manufactured, right? So there'll be several months of delay before car prices see increases from, and those would be new cars, right? Don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of other things that use steel and aluminum, right? But there's manufacturing time and labor and all these other things that go into product that's using materials like that until it's actually sold. So there's already inventory produced at a more reasonable price that consumers have to go through before the price increases get passed on. The thing I'm most concerned about, frankly, Big, right? Alright? Is automotive tariffs. If there are more significant automotive tariffs, that will impact used cars immediately. new and used cars. And, you know, just like in Australia, to drive around the United States adequately, you need a car. It's a big place. Same thing for Canada, right? So if we start getting into tariff wars and automotives are on the table, we're going to start seeing higher inflation wherever those automotive tariffs are applied. I think I saw something posted in the trade research group here. Let's see, where is it? Trump 47 tariffs. Yeah, that's the one. Right here in the Discord. And again, if you want access to this Discord and this wonderful, wonderful trade research forum that we have set up following all these economic and geopolitical themes and events, you can join the Plan the Profit community right here at wap.plan the profit. You can just also click at the link in the pinned comment. That'll take you there. bossbenchmarks.com. Yeah, that'll take you to the same place. Would be correct to say that the biggest effects on global markets from a continued tariff disagreement would be the effects on the fuels sector. Well, it depends on what the tariffs are used on. Right now, it seems like Trump is negotiating. Actually, I think I posted something about this in the commodities channel. Yeah, we can do this now because it's early in the stream. Brent continues to find support below $70 and WTI above 65, with the recovery attempt focusing on the EIA cutting its oversupply forecast. While OPEC Plus production increases in the short term may get dwarfed by U.S. attempts to enforce Iran and Venezuela's sanctions, speculators hold very lean positions, potentially driving fresh demand on a change in the technical setup. So things are highly dynamic in the energy market, more so on sanctions and how the sanctions could be applied to the enemies of the United States. So for energy, sanctions are going to be more important, and also the level of energy supply that is sanctioned and not sanctioned. When it comes to tariffs, we're mostly looking at materials, right? There are energy tariffs, right? Like what Canada did, saying, hey, we're gonna, shut off electricity to a bunch of homes in the U.S. if we don't get the tariffs that we want. It's kind of, that's just asking for a trade war. It's really dumb for Ford to say that in Canada. Not Ford the company, Ford the politician. Anyways, let's go ahead. I do have this tab open here. I am gonna real quick say, hey, yeah, there's the links in the description and all that if you want to get in here and do trade research and post trades in the trade forum, right? All the stuff is free. There is a trading group here, and it comes with access to all of these great indicators that you'll see throughout the stream that we'll be using for analysis. Actually, you can actually see right there, maybe that is in fact the for the day. Right? We got a peak in our probability distribution here. This tells us where we're likely to find lows for the day on dollar CAD, given any day's return. And right here is our current low. We're right at a peak. So let's see if maybe the tariff news pushes us lower, right? If the tariff news pushes us lower, down to this peak right here. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Trump might respond to these tariffs later and give us something that looks more like that, a bounce higher into the close. I would not be surprised if Trump says, okay, we're going to put, $100 billion of tariffs on you. Yeah, I feel like the scenario of just the basic materials tariffs will lead to increased inflation at the consumer, causing the increase to prices that are outside the tariff umbrella. Yeah, that's very, very much true. And the big one is the auto tariffs, the automotive tariffs, the car tariffs, because those will impact new and used cars. These material tariffs, they impact new airplanes, new cars, new bicycles, new construction, right? So these tariffs impact a lot of things, but it's all new stuff, right? And some of these projects that are new can accommodate those tariffs. And, some of these banks will be like, we financed you for a $100 million project. These tariffs are going to increase your costs by about 10 million. You meet our credit requirements. We already accepted this. 10 million is not much more of a push. We'll give you that extra 10 million, right? So the costs for a lot of things are going to go up, but these are mostly new things. It's when we start tariffing things that are already in existence, things that businesses have in their inventory, and then saying, okay, now you have to pay a tariff on top of what you were already expecting to get paid for all this inventory you currently have. Now the cost of offloading that inventory really hurts. For a company, for example, like Walmart, they have very narrow margins on a lot of their products. And a lot of those products, don't get me wrong, are already tariffed. So Walmart's really smart. They know how to work around the tariffs and what to expect, depending on what tariffs actually get implemented. But, if you go and you actually check out Walmart, spelt it wrong, 2 O's. You check out Walmart, it's not doing too hot, right? Walmart's down 17% right now. It's actually at a peak in the distribution here, right? You can see here's the peak, right? The odds get smaller here, and then they increase here. So we're more likely to find our low for the month in this area. No guarantees, because it's just statistics, so it's a probability of finding a low here. But at least we can identify, okay, past kind of this area, right? You're starting to deal with all this tail risk, falling knife stuff, right? This is all a falling knife. I don't know, man. I should have made that red, right? Isn't that fun, being able to draw stuff on the chart now? Hello, Harold. Nice to see you. I disagree on the effects to consumers via vehicles in the short-term home. Well, if the material tariffs are implemented, we're not going to see the impact of the tariffs immediately until new production that uses those materials actually gets into business inventories and gets sold to consumers. If it's the automotive tariff is the really the big one, because that impacts all the existing inventory that's out there. Any tariffs that impact existing inventory are going to be bigger problems. Yeah, I see it. Short-term, hopefully manageable. Yeah. I'd have thought the prime opportunities trading tariffs would be short Boeing and John Deere. A bit. It depends. Raw, out of character. Sorry, Harold. Yeah, no problem, man. Hello, Harold. Thank you for joining in on the stream. We are hanging out, waiting for US CPI to come through. If we go to today, you can see we still got about an hour left on the counter. We started the stream early today so we can, you know, hang out, actually talk about stuff without being in a rush. So, yeah, sorry. Oh, you were not late at all, man. You're good, man. I started streaming an hour and a half early today, so we would all have time to just hang out and chat. Yeah, Harold, what you traded? I am kind of curious how this euro-dollar one is moving. It's moving so far. Dude, it's been so hard trading this thing. Alright, let's check out Bitcoin. Bitcoin's holding up. Bitcoin's doing fine. Nothing crazy on Bitcoin. Looks like it'll probably end up higher on the day. My pending buy on dollar yuan got filled. Oh wow. Dollar yuan. I actually have that bookmarked right here. I haven't checked this one out in a good bit. I believe this is going lower at the moment. Just because of dollar weakness. However, we do have stimulus coming down the pipe here. We have China sometime, I believe, this month, if I'm not mistaken. Talking about stimulus. I think I have it here in the calendar. No? No, I don't have any CNs here, so no China stuff. Maybe it's further in the outlook, but my thesis on CNH was China would respond to tariffs by manipulating their currency weaker. Yeah, they could, for sure. They kind of don't want to do that anymore, though, because they got threatened by Trump on that specifically. Not that. Multiple times. Multiple times over the last few months. So China already knows that's going to induce Trump to put on more tariffs on China. So, you know, maybe it's still something that they do. But I believe China's going to try and find another way of stimulating the economy, from what I understand. Here, if we just search China. US and China talks on possible summit. Oh yeah, that's right. They're going to try and meet in April or June at the moment, from what I understand. Yep, I think that's what I'm looking for. Right here. Its current stimulus plan will make this worse. A deflationary cycle. Beijing has shown little indication that it's went to correct course. Yeah, it's not terribly useful. Not terribly useful. I'm pretty sure I had some notes on China. Here. Give me a second. Let me check my notes here. See if I can find some. Thankfully, I can just search for China. Okay, here we go. Found it. The government work report set a relatively high growth target. That was China just had their parliament open up for new legislation proposals, so they issued this work report and said, hey, we're going to target 5% GDP. So the important bit of information is that in the opening to getting these policies done and debating these policies in the Chinese government, the Chinese government, has reinforced our expectations that China will implement more proactive fiscal policy and loosen monetary policy to support growth if needed. In order to reach this around 5% GDP mark, China is planning an additional 2.4 trillion yuan of fiscal spending, 1.7% of GDP for the economy in 2025. It will help to provide an offset to the negative impact of Trump's tariff hikes on China's economy and help dampen downside risks. And then you can see there's more stuff here, right? So this is the work report, right? Premier Li Guang, keenly watching economic targets. Peak tariff hasn't been reached yet. Against this backdrop, 5% GDP target looks even more ambitious. A significant step up in policy stimulus is likely forthcoming to ensure that the target is met. So yeah, it's gonna require a lot of money. You're gonna have to put a lot of money in that engine to make it run. So that would likely send the currency, higher. Right? Up, and do the right. Oh, hold on, we can't use that color. We gotta use the money color, right? Up to the right. Haven't heard anything from Trump in response to that Carney knob yet. No, not direct. No. He did respond to what Ford said about shutting off electricity to a bunch of houses by saying, if you do that, I'm gonna be very you think Trump was mean then? Just wait till you do something stupid like that and give him an excuse, right? Later in the docket today, we do have the Bank of Canada rate decision. It's going to be a longer stream today because I believe that is, it's about an hour and 15 minutes after the CPI result, we get the Bank of Canada decision. Speaking of Canada, right, and Canadian tariffs, this rate cut's fully priced in. I'm not expecting it really to impact markets so much. I believe the Bank of Canada is going to do this to also help try and keep growth in the economy. Because some of these tariffs could very easily be going on. So I think it's a good thing. Bank of Canada is cutting at 25 basis points, right? If the tariffs came on and they were really hurting growth, then 50 basis points might be called for at the following. But there's no reason to set that expectation at the Marco Rubio just said, we strongly urge Russia to end all hostilities. We hope to have a positive answer from Russia. So, good development. Dude, Marco Rubio is really kicking some butt here. Like, I was not expecting him to be this good of a Secretary of State, but then again, he was voted in unanimously by the Senate. He effectively got 99 to 0, or 100 to 0, depending on how you count it, votes to secure his confirmation as Secretary of State. And now he's doing a phenomenal job as Secretary of State. Let's see here. Probably talking about Ukraine. Rubio said we had conversations about territorial concessions. And I know he did say it's going to be impossible for Ukraine to have peace without some territory concessions. Oh, there's an echo for the live stream on WAP? Huh, I'm not... Oh, that's because my microphone is not muted. Thank you very much for that, Fire. Everything should be good now. And I'll actually make sure to text you guys. Fire. Fix the echo. Thank you very much. Bum bum ba bum bum. Alrighty. Oh, dude, I really do look forward to some posts in the trade forums, because that'll give me more content to go through and hang out and read through. But yeah, I haven't heard much about Carney. We have that information here, the 25 basis point rate cut coming with the Bank of Canada. Let's go and actually re-review these real quick. Economists expect inflation to be milder for February than it was for January, though that's not saying much since January was very, very hot. Came in at like 0.5% month over month. Expectations are for headline and core US CPI inflation to rise by, at median, 0.28%, which is it's 60% of what we got last month, which is nice. It is, relative to last month, a bit of disinflation. But, if that came in at if it came in closer to 0.2, people would be really happy. If it came in, there was a particular, Chicago Fed, I believe, or the Atlanta Fed. There's a CPI nowcast that one of the Fed banks does, and they're forecasting 0.23, which would be very, very good to get. So these are all the forecasts. You can check all the banks, but the median forecast for the headline is down here. This one with the 0 dot in front of it, that's the month over month number. The one to the right here, the 2.9s, 2.8s here, this is the year over year number. And then it's the same thing for the core, right? Month over month, year over year. Here, let's get the little highlight, right? So month over month, year over year. We can even make that bigger. Yeah, right? Month over month, year over year for the headline. Month over month, year over year for the headline. I'm getting better at using my little illustration tools. Things are going so far so good. A gamble, she drops. Will fade Aussie dollar. Alright, well, let's check that out. Where's the chart? Here's the chart. We still got 42 minutes left on CPI here, so we got plenty of time to kill. You guys got plenty of time to ask questions and whatnot. Let me leave and come back. Oh, it's normal now? Yeah. Alright, so good that all the guys over on WAP are taken care of. And thank you guys for watching on WAP. Always appreciate the activity over there, because WAP is doing a bunch of stuff to try and improve their their social networking aspect of their site. So I want to try and give WAP a lot of support. They were the very first site to support giving automated access to TradingView indicators, and so as soon as they added that feature, I hopped on and joined WAP. So now that WAP's trying to expand into some other avenues, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and give WAP a really honest shot. Oh, I should mention, in WAP, you might notice that there's this PineScript mentorship thing. This is free. This is totally free. You only have to pay if you want like one-on-one bookings with me to learn PineScript and how to build indicators. But I'm actually building a free course to go along with this. All these free tutorials and free materials on like, okay, here's Joe's way of building indicators and how he structures things and how he tries to get work done fast, right? So I'll release it and you guys will probably tell me if it's any good. But considering how you guys responded to the last programming stream that I did, and we'll bring up the Aussie dollar here, because that was the last one mentioned in the chat. Oh man, you faded from a pretty good spot, 6-3-1. Yeah, so you probably got short yesterday or the day before that. Looks pretty good. Again, so long these yield spreads weaken further today, I'd have a little more confidence in shorts, but that positive yield spread's not the best thing to be shorting against. Then again, ooh, look at me, I'm trying to get short on the asset with the most positive yield spread, but at least I can go here and I can point to, it was 9.8 and now it's 7.7, so at least I can point to the yield spreads improving. Here, let's check that out real quick. On the PineScript stuff, as I was saying, yeah, 4.8 to 3.5. Yeah, it is moving in the right direction. So hopefully it continues to move in the right direction for you, Ari. Oh, you're short from 636. Wow, that's a lot safer. That's a lot. Oh, I remember you taking that trade in the trading group. Yep, I remember that post. Yep. That was pretty nutty, man. I remember saying, actually, I think I can pull it up. I was like, that could be the high for the month. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Check that out. That is so freaking nutty, man. So, just as a little review for those who don't know how to read the indicators, you have a peak here. This peak, all this red stuff here, shows you, hey, this is where the top for a month can likely come in, given all the historical data for all the prior months we have. This is where a lot of tops for the month on Aussie dollar come in. So looking at that price, it looks like, oh, okay, cool. That's a likely price to get short. And then we can also do a replay of last week. Wow. Yeah, and you can see actually the yield spreads weakened on shorter time frames right here. Yeah. It went into some pretty low probability territory here, but catching the short on the yield spreads weakening here seemed like, a decent shot. And then when you take that into account with the monthly spreads, it's like, okay, maybe this thing worked out and maybe it doesn't. And so far so good, my man. I'm very, very happy to see it working out for you. Very, very happy to see it working out. So on the PineScript stuff I mentioned, dude, that PineScript stream I did last Saturday did really, really well. In fact, I don't get a whole lot of views on these streams, right? We cover a lot of different topics. We cover geopolitics, we cover some statistics, we cover my indicators, and now I have these programming streams, right? The programming stream has been doing better in views and viewer retention than my trading streams. So I'm like, okay, at least that one stream did, right? Maybe it was just a novel thing, people were checking it out. But then I checked the analytics and it's like 70% of the viewers came from the search function. So there are people looking around for new PineScript content on how to learn how to code. So I'm like, okay, I think I found something good there. I'm going to keep doing these trading streams every day, but I'm going to slowly start building up like, okay, instead of just one programming stream a week, I'll do 2 and keep my focus on building this free course out. And when I finish a chapter or a set of lessons, just publish it. I'm not going to try and hoard it and release it all at once. I'm going to do a rolling release sort of thing here. So right now there's no information on programming. There's no course in here yet. But I'm going to fill it with some basic stuff, and then over time I'll put, better, more advanced stuff, right? As I do more PineScript programming hour streams, the streams are just going to be like an hour, hour and a half of me doing some programming, how to build indicators, talking about different features, different ways of building them, different indicator ideas, submitting indicators for publication, becoming a TradingView vendor, using WAP to sell your indicators, all that kind of stuff. I think I'll do most of that content on stream, and then I'll put a write-up of like those individual lessons with the clip of the stream here in the mentorship, so people can just get some information that's not I couldn't find that. I never got taught any of the things that I'm going to be talking about on the stream, at least most of the good stuff, most of the really useful things that I found. You don't learn those things from a YouTube video, right? Maybe you'll learn it from my YouTube videos, but I didn't learn it from anyone else's YouTube videos, right? I learned what I learned with the PineScript environment and submitting indicators and all that sort of stuff, and successfully selling indicators for a very long time, to the point now where I have the most popular premium pivot point indicator on TradingView. Dude, it's just you learn things when you're in those spots, so it'll be interesting to teach those. I still don't know when I'm gonna do that next programming hour stream. And FYI, the CPI comes out in about 30 minutes here, so we're going to start paying closer attention to that. But I'm thinking maybe I do another programming stream later today, after CPI, honestly. And then I keep the Saturday streams, because I do have fun, but man, I want to continue having fun when I'm programming. Like, a lot of my programming is a way to get away from a lot of the work that is trading. Trading can be a lot of work, man. And not just like a little bit of work. I mean, oh, check this out. China regulator vows that fentanyl export approval will be strict. All right. Cool. Thank you, China. Wish you did that soon. The US is happy Ukrainians have come to the table. Now it's up to Russia to say yes, says Marco Rubio, Secretary of State for the United States. He then follows up by saying, if Russia says no to coming to the table, that's going to tell us a lot about what their intentions are with Ukraine. And from what I understand, they'll come to the table. It'd be a huge surprise, and if Russia doesn't move towards peace, it's going to mobilize the US against them. Trump will mobilize against the Russians if the Russians do, if they do effectively what the Ukrainians are doing and not come, trying to do whatever they can to not come to the table, stretch out the war, keep fighting. But I don't think Putin wants to get into that sort of conflict, to say the least. To say the least. And I'm just gonna double check my streams on Kick and Twitch. Alright, all's good. Again, the most popular platform is YouTube. That is the most popular platform to watch me on. So I really appreciate everybody who's watching today for CPI. Really appreciate everybody also watching on WAP. Because we got 4 guys watching over there on WAP. Oh, for some reason I can't join my own live stream. There we go. Yeah, I always have to leave the WAP live stream, otherwise it's not a full screen picture of the stream. Yeah, that kind of sucks, but that's just how it goes for streaming through WAP. You guys on YouTube are like, what is he talking about? It's just other streaming platforms, sorry. We'll have some new free indicators coming through my TradingView profile here as I release new indicators from doing those streams. So everyone who's not interested in the programming stuff, who just really wants to focus on trading, right, and trying to make some money trading, don't worry. There'll be some things coming for you guys too out of these programming streams. It's not just programming to teach programming, it's programming to actually get work done, right? I have several free and open source indicators and libraries. I have libraries that I haven't published and indicators that I haven't published and indicators that I want to update and rework and refactor and add new features to. I mean, I have so much work, I might as well stream. And a lot of this work is all open source. So it's not gonna hurt, streaming. I'm not gonna, the only thing that's really gonna make a huge difference is in actually showing people, okay, here's how I think about currently how to make a script and how to make it well and how to make it readable to other programmers so that then they can easily adjust things, right? And how to make it easy for yourself in the future. Like here are like the techniques to help make programming things now smart in such a way that it's easy for you to make the script even larger and add in really insane, very cool features later on, keeping all the components modular. So if you want to like change a little thing, it's not the end of the world, right? You don't have to re-hard code everything, right? Just good programming habits, right? Good stuff. But I think that's enough on the programming side. We got 26 minutes till CPI comes out. And we'll have our trusty financial juice open on the sideline here. Should probably mention we had the Greens in Germany, because one of the topics today that I had for the stream was, the Greens in Germany are now, here, if we do translate. Yeah, Hebeck. This guy is the head of the Greens in Germany. Supports Greens' tough course against the CDU, CSU, and SPD debt package. So all the fiscal stimulus that has been creating a lot of the positive growth here in the euro. Like this entire move up. This guy whose vote the current majority needs in order to pass the stimulus, they need this guy's vote. They need the Green Party vote to do this. And this guy is coming out and saying, no, I don't like it. I'm going to submit my own stimulus package, and I want you guys to accept my stimulus package. Is the third majority actually official yet, though? Yeah, that's on March 14th. The election results will be finalized. They're trying to get the stimulus done on March 13th, if I recall correctly. They want to get this all done tomorrow. They want to get all the they want to at least get the $500 billion euro stimulus passed tomorrow. But in the debates over the last couple of days, the guy that they need votes from in order to pass it before the AfD and all these other parties take their seats officially in the Bundestag on the 14th, they have one opportunity to pass this, really, on the 13th, tomorrow. And if they don't do it, it's going to be way harder to do it. So if the vote fails for this stuff tomorrow, for whatever reason, I think it will pass, personally. I think it'll pass. I don't think that they'll get the votes to adjust debt brake, but I do think they'll get the votes for this $500 billion. However, it is genuinely more important to get the debt brake passed, because that is trillions of dollars in stimulus. This is $500 billion. Don't get me wrong, it'll still be a lot of money. It'll still be super... I mean, it's arguable whether or not it'd be super helpful, because this is focused at military expenditures and military infrastructure, which is the main reason why Habeck here is the one saying, I think we should put this money elsewhere, not into the military. Let's put it into climate change. That's kind of the point of the Greens, right? We want to put it into... what is it? Both would pretend as if there is no tomorrow. They don't care about the future, climate protection, intergenerational justice, but only about election gifts for their clientele. You know, when I read this word here, intergenerational justice, I was actually kind of concerned, right? Intergenerational justice. I was thinking, is he talking about creating laws where if your dad or your mom does something that's against climate policy, that you as the child has to pay? And I had to ask around, it turns out that's not the case. He just means, taking care of stuff for younger generations. Like, That's a really weird word for inheritance, man. You could have just called that environmental inheritance rather than a word that is a euphemism for we're gonna charge you for crimes of the generation behind you. Bad choice of words, in my opinion. Also, that news is followed up this morning that a big manufacturer in batteries. In fact, if I go here, yeah. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So this company, Northvolt, went bankrupt today. And people are saying, oh, this is so bad, right? All these greens and their green energy policy. It's so bad. It's not going to work, right? Look, the companies that are producing the batteries for their energy policy, it's not working, right? They're going bankrupt. Well, the company highlights, significant but not dominant role in battery manufacturing. 6.7%. Yeah, not totally crazy. Yeah, not crazy. It actually turns out that Tesla produces more batteries, more electrical capacity for Germany than this company, Northvolt. Wow, Tesla produces more electricity in Europe than LG. Wow, that is insane. That's actually incredibly impressive. So yeah, don't get me wrong, it is a decent amount, and they're mostly serving the northern countries, but it's not going to be the end of the world for Europe and the Greens, just because one company went down on supplying batteries. Like, I don't know if you guys follow European politics, but people are saying, "Oh my God, the integrity of the green climate stuff is going under." Like, no, there will always be battery producers, right? I don't like electric cars personally. I don't like electric cars. Tell me when there's an electric car that's not using child slave labor, and I'll consider it more seriously. But there's plenty of parts in a normal car that, well, actually most parts in a normal car are just made by robots. Now that I think about it, right? There's very little child labor that goes into a normal car. That's a weird discussion for a trading stream, but yeah. That's more of a personal qualm I got. So we don't need that tab anymore. We can close all that stuff out. We can have financial juice over here now. Actually, I do want financial juice on this other monitor, so I can just keep track of it. Maybe no on the half trill and yes on the debt break. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm expecting too. That is exactly my expectation. Alright, exactly what I'm expecting. So I'm glad you see that coming through. And if that is the case, I think this is finally the top, right? Again, I was wrong on this, on the timing of this expectation here. Because literally an hour after I drew this line, the Greens came out and said, oh, we like the idea of the debt break. We want to make a deal. And now they are royally screwing up the deal. Pray they don't screw it up any further. let's see. Let's check out the music. I'm gonna change the playlist. I have a few music playlists here. Let's see here. That's Icebreaker. I want to try this playlist out. I'm gonna. I mean, I'll just say right now, I don't mind if you guys make like music stream playlist recommendations in the trades forum here, right? Like, just set up stream topics and Q&A for the tag, and go ahead and submit like, okay, here's like a couple of different playlists that are copyright free music things that you could use of music that you guys enjoy. I don't mind taking music requests and whatnot. You know, especially if I like the music too, you know. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did make this. This is a new thread here, German debt break. I've been following it for so long. I really should have made this thread a long time ago, but I made it today because pretty soon this topic is going to end over. I mean, it's not going to immediately end, but it's gonna potentially be passed. I don't think it's going to pass, but there's going to be a lot of activity around this particular topic here. So instead of flooding the geopolitics channel with, 20, 30 debt break related things, I'm just going to be like, okay, let's just put all the debt break stuff into a proper research forum thread. Like all the other topics are neatly, right? And of course, we got our Trump Watch thread. Oh, that's interesting. We haven't received an RSS post from Trump, so I have to triple check that the RSS feed is still going. I mean, Trump's Truth is still going, yeah. So now's a good time for chart requests, my guys. Now's a really good time for chart requests. Yeah, free Congo. Yeah. Dude. I mean, I can pull up Aussie dollar again. Let's turn up the music just a tad here so it's actually hearable. Listenable. And nothing crazy on the charts at the moment. Oh no, your trial has expired. Please upgrade. Okay, I don't mind. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a faster RSS bot for Discord. Maybe I should ask someone on Fiverr. They can make a decent Discord RSS bot. See, how much more time do we have? We got 10 minutes. Okay, cool. So we're going to be getting some news here any minute now. EU on the 8-hour ranges looks like it has plenty of upward risk to it. Let's check it out. Again, this little note here says, when Quebec rejected the debt brake reform to fulfill election promises. Actually, looking at the daily range, that does look like that's probably the top on the day. Because, you know, one thing that's neat about this indicator is you can actually see, just by looking at this little outline right here, see how there's all these yellow dots around this particular bar right here, right? This one. That actually tells you where the current high is. So the current high is right here. So when you look to the right and you see this one, yeah, that's what makes that one stand out. Hello, Nitin. I don't think I've seen you here in the chat before. I'll go ahead and check out NQ for you, my man. I ain't got to shoot that. NQ with the range probabilities. Yeah, it could be topping out for the day here. Let's load some more historical data in it by going to a slightly higher time frame. The odds don't change, but I will say that if we do go higher, I wouldn't be surprised to see us up here by the end of the day, right? And when I say right, let me just delete this thing. Check this out. There's a peak, right? There's a peak in the distribution right there. So if we start moving up, we go from a low probability zone here to a higher probability spot right there. So top could look something along those lines. Now, let's do one more thing on NQ. Let's adjust these timing dots. Yeah. One more. That looks good. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be short. Yeah, I really wouldn't want to be short. It seems like the top for the day is probably going to look something like that. Or that. So what I specifically am looking at are these highs right here. These little dots, just FYI, this is an indicator called timing dots. It says given this low, right, this little box right here, I can make it even more clear. Given this box right here for a given trading day, where do the following highs, tops for the day come in at? And these are the respective moves higher. And you can see we have a cluster of tops right around here, this whole area. Most of our dots are in this area right here. This is the last 2-hour bar of the day, so you have this nice little identifiable cluster, right? So that's why I say it looks like, you know, going up to this spot here. Maybe I should use an arrow, right? Going up to that spot there, make that green, or going up to this spot here end of day. I think those are fairly likely outcomes. I don't know if that's going to be the outcome. However, if US CPI comes in below 0.28% month over month here, right? Prior forecast month over month. I don't know why it's saying 0.3 is the forecast, because the actual forecast is, I think, 0.9 or 0.8. What we can actually do real quick is bring up, this is why having notes is super important for streams. We can just bring this up. Right, here are all the forecasts. Right, so here we have our median forecast at 0.28 month over month for the headline. If the actual CPI number comes in lower than this, it's going to indicate that we're not seeing really harsh inflationary pressures, and we're likely not going to see a really, really hard hit on growth. At least from the inflationary side of the economy. We could see hits on US growth in other ways, but at least not having to worry about inflation means that the Fed can go on a cutting policy, and that would increase, I believe, all these equities and allow the US dollar to fall further. However, here's kind of the counterpoint to it potentially making the US dollar stronger. A lot of the reason why people started buying euros and getting into the European equity space is because of all this fiscal stimulus that was promised. There's a good chance we're not going to get the debt break as soon as people were expecting, and there's even a decent chance we might not get that €500 billion. I think we're going to get that, but there's a chance it might not happen. So if that stimulus in Europe doesn't occur and we get lower US inflation, we're going to probably see flows come back out of Europe into the United States. And some reinvestment going on in the United States going into the end of this week, which is going to result in US dollar buying in order to get back into US dollar denominated assets. Yeah. Nice explanation, brother. I'll try to sell at rise with small stop loss. I mean, if you're trying to short it, right, it's, yeah, the way I've put stops is something like along these lines, right? You want to get out before you hit these, right? But if you're long, this is really where it's more helpful, these indicators. It's like, oh, okay, I'm already long, I need to know where the hell to get out. These are some probabilistic estimates based on some historical data, right? And don't get me wrong, historical data isn't everything, you know, vis-a-vis why you need to pay attention to news and politics and whatnot, right? This whole thing, the entire reason I put this note right here. Because if I was just looking at this data, I'd be like, okay, the high for Eurodollar is going to be somewhere here on this bar. And we're going to probably go another 20 to, I don't know, 50 pips higher on the day, depending on what happens. But things are going to be net higher from here. And no, we just got that news. I knew how to interpret that news. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get short. And so far, so good. But now we're going to be getting US CPI here in 1 minute. We're going to turn on Financial Juice and listen to the news report.
1 minute to go now. We'll lead with the CPI year on year. Don't forget, we also have the super core CPI and super core month on month, year on year data to come through as well.
Remember to like and subscribe, my guys. It is CPI day here at Plan the Profit. Thank you all very much for watching the stream so far. We still have more to go for the stream today, so stick around after CPI here for the Bank of Canada rate decision. And I'll pull up NQ on the other side. Now, hold on a sec.
Ten seconds. Two spot 8%, 2.8% lower than the forecast of 2.9%. Core year on year, 3.1%, 3.1% lower than the forecast of 3.2%. Month on month, CPI 0.2%, 0.2% lower than the forecast of 0.3%. And core month on month 0.2%, 0.2% lower than forecast of 0.3%. Dixie seeing downside movement, S&P 500 seeing strength. So just waiting on the super core data to come through. But as said, data weaker than expected across the board, leading to the Dixie weakening and the S&P 500 seeing strength. Europe stock 600 moving higher after US data, last up about 1.45%.
Alrighty. So far, so good. We'll
So seeing the
definitely get
dollar
more
index
news.
dropping to a daily low after the inflation data. Seeing the S&P 500 futures up by about 1.5%, Nasdaq futures up by about 1.8%, and Dow futures up by about 1.2%.
I wish I could see the second decimal place for the month-over-month number. But so far, year-over-year core came in lower, which is good. Oh, yeah, month-over-month actual.
Russell 2000 futures up 1.9%.
I was quiet there for a second on the release because I had my finger on
US Treasury yields jump after CPI inflation. CPI 10-year yields last at 4.287%.
I had my finger on two buttons: close position and open a new short, right? And then respectively tap one more button to make it open a new long. Given the CPI data, I was like, okay, so far the data has come out so far so good. It's honestly, I don't see this rise up holding. We'll see. Right? The initial reaction was a very, very good risk-on reaction. But my initial impression is that it ain't gonna hold for the things that I mentioned earlier. So let's see here. Which way are the yield spreads moving at the moment? They're kind of jumping around 8.5, no, 8.4, 8.3. I took a trade, and based on my bias, you can probably, based on what I was saying, understand which direction I was trying to protect myself in and which direction I ultimately took the trade in. So we're going to add a drawing here live on the stream for what I did just now. Right? It's a short trade. You know, big surprise, right? Joe took another short trade ad. And let's get the entry price here. 1.09253. Yep. As soon as I saw the CPI come in the way it came in, and I saw the move up, I'm like, yes, please, I will like some more. Now the question is, how right will I be? Because now I have this trade on and this trade on. And I feel like I might, I could very easily be putting myself into another scenario like this, where I get a short, a short, a short, and then a geopolitical event comes in. Thankfully, I got out. What was the stop? I think the stop was... Actually, I think that was exactly it. Sick. Let me check. Eight, 6. Oh my god, that's actually exactly right. 863. No, 8683. The last two digits were backwards. So that's where I got out of that, and that trade. So these three trades were exited around there. Saved myself a lot of heartache. And then I sat on my hands until we got this piece of news. And this piece of news here. So I'm just going to add another note. For US CPI coming in lower. I'm going to add this bit here, because that's the expectation I was expecting to see. Okay, cool. Now I have my note for exactly why I took this trade. I'm going to start doing this, putting notes at the trades to be like, hey, here's the bit of news that came out at that trade. And wow, that is making good money. That is making me very good money. Yeah. Let's see how much money it ends up making, guys. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. And I'll say thank you, everybody, for watching. It's been a very, very fun stream. I usually try and not do longer streams, but it seems like you guys have really enjoyed the longer streams, honestly. There's more people watching. There's more people engaging. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's mostly Ari, right? I love you, Ari, but we gotta get more people here in the damn trading group. I gotta show off my skills, I gotta show off my trading skills. We gotta get more people using these indicators and doing this analysis and helping us with outlooks and whatnot. But it's not like that's not something I've already told you about, Harold, when are you going to join the damn trading group? Not to call you out. I always enjoy and love your company here in the YouTube and in the Discord. I know you are quite a busy man, so I do not hold it against you. See, exactly. I know Harold so well. I'm so distracted at work, I'm always juggling stuff. I know, or driving. I know Harold too well. Yep. Or taking care of the family. Right? Taking care of the family. Harold is a very, very, very responsible man. Oh my god. Sorry for those things. Those are the yield spread. Those are yield spread moves here. Oh, dollar yen. Hey, look at that. That doesn't seem like that's the right setting. Oh, I think that's just the sum. Is that just the sum? Yeah, that's just the sum, not sum plus rate of change. Okay. I'm gonna have to fix that because don't get me wrong, sum is fine. That sum setting is fine, but we need sum plus rate of change for what the default settings are. But yeah, you can now see the yield spreads are on the dollar yen moving into a more neutral scenario here. Dollar is getting stronger. On the Aussie side of things, hey, look at that. The yield spreads are about the same. It didn't do much on Aussie. And for New Zealand, they're pretty flat. Pretty flat. I'd rather be short New Zealand than Aussie at the moment, looking just at the structure of the yield spread curve. But that's, you know, if dollar gets really strong, it's going to impact both Aussie and New Zealand. I just think New Zealand, excuse me, will get hit harder. Also, I'm going to again switch the playlist here. Because we still have one more economic event we're going to be checking out here. Bank of Canada interest rate decision. Let's see here. Zelensky, 30 days of ceasefire will be used to draft a peace plan. Ukraine is ready to sign a framework minerals deal with the United States. How about we post those into the Discord? Let's go to our Russia-Ukraine war thread. So here's our Russia-Ukraine war research thread here. I'll just zoom out once more so it's a little easier for me to read. And we're going to just real quickly log that these things happened in the thread. So we have a nice little history and a searchable index here in this thread of all the stuff going on in Russia-Ukraine. Oh, what, was it already in geopolitics? No, it wasn't in geopolitics. Huh. I wonder where that got forwarded from. Thank you very much, Big. Let's see. And then this one here goes into central banks, just as an update. U.S. short-term interest rate futures pair earlier losses after CPI reports. Traders still see Fed resuming rate cuts in June. And you can actually see some commentary from Fireon. He's a brilliant commentator. Let's actually check out if he made any posts now. Small nuclear power struggles. We better have a recession. 4 cuts, or more precisely 100 basis points, are now priced in by December. So if we, essentially this improved outlook on the CPI. So hopefully we actually get that CPI. Yeah, here's the CPI report. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you very much, Financial Juice. They don't show the second decimal place. Maybe trading economics does. Let's see here. Nope. But they do have some commentary here. The annual inflation rate eased below the forecast of 2.9%, so a slight beat, which is good. Energy costs declined. Oh wow, we mentioned that way earlier in the stream already. Energy costs declined. So this is not what we were expecting, huh? Gasoline and fuel oil fell. Were lower while natural gas prices soared. So natural gas is the one to focus on when it comes down to more expensive energy. Inflation also slowed for shelter. Oh, housing inflation slowed, all right. Used cars and trucks, transportation, while prices continue to fall for new vehicles. All right, so the automotive and transportation sector continues to fall. It's very, very good. On the other hand, inflation accelerated for food. I actually still see that at the grocery store. Food is still quite expensive. And the egg shortage here in the US is insanely annoying. Very, 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 very annoying. There's a lot of people who eat tons and tons of eggs every single day. And bake with tons and tons of eggs every single day. Let's see here. On a monthly basis, the CPI rose by 0.2%, down from January's 0.5%. So that's 40%, right? It's a 60% drop. It's 60% or cut. The easiest way to say is that it's just lower. You know, I'm getting my ratios correct, but I'm not putting it into an apt sentence here. I'm just trying to say, hey, this is lower. This is a lower number, a very low number. It's a very good improvement. Meanwhile, core inflation slowed. That's also very useful. That's very, very good. It means that the quote-unquote stickier parts of inflation are doing better, right? So overall, that is a nice improvement. That is a very, very nice improvement. So yeah, we got one more hour for the Bank of Canada decision. Oh boy, dude, this is gonna be a long stream. We're gonna be hanging out here for about another hour. If anyone wants to dip, I won't hold it against them, because most of the time these streams are about 45 minutes to like 2 hours. This is gonna be like a 2.5, 3 hour stream. So, if you want to continue watching, hop in, hop out, dip in, dip out, or keep the stream on in the background. And remember, if you've enjoyed, remember to like and subscribe and all that jazz. We will be going over the Bank of Canada interest rate decision when it's ready here in 55 minutes. And I will still be here for that. Some days there's nothing to talk about. Some days there's like an overwhelming amount of things to talk about. Today there's just we got CPI and a couple of trades to check out. Cool. And so far, trades are doing so far so good. And wow, yeah, look, everything had that spike. Yeah, so I'd say everything is still looking good on the Aussie dollar. Everything's still looking pretty good on expecting lower prices, so long those yield spreads continue to weaken against the Aussie dollar. I would continue to expect lower Aussie dollar prices. Yeah, we should probably be watching Dollar CAD. Right? So let's have that up in a separate spot over here while we check out another asset like NQ. Yeah, check that out. NQ is doing really well. Same thing with the S&P. S&P is doing really well. And the Dow, the Dow not holding up so well. But it'll probably end up on the day. I'd be really surprised if Dow closed red, but Nasdaq doing well, S&P doing well. Oh yeah, Japan's doing well because their currency is getting hit, right? Yeah, this going up is the Japanese currency weakening, so people are getting into equities as the currency weakens. That's expected. And on that euro dollar, we're now sitting, I just noticed we're sitting now below the 109 spot. So let's see, is this enough information to change the future expectations for us to now start trading like in the mid 108s? We'll see. We have the vote for stimulus tomorrow, so we'll see. We'll see. Oh, Nikkei, it's doing pretty good. How about, all right, that's doing well, that's doing well, that's doing well. All the equity markets doing okay. Ooh. The New Zealand equity market is, I think that's actually currently closed. It's not doing too hot though, either way. It's not doing so great. Australia's doing just fine now. It's holding it. The Australian equity market's doing just fine. Let's go ahead and check out Bitcoin. Oh yeah. Bitcoin reacted quite positively to the CPI. Oh yeah, no, not a problem, Harold. Not a problem. You've been around for a long time, my man. We've known each other for a long time. Oh man, I gotta like quadruple check the WAP and make sure everything's good on the WAP, and quadruple check Kick and make sure everything's good on Kick. Alright, cool. Kick is still kicking, and Twitch is still twitching, and WAP is still WAPing. Yeah, I've had enough of the techno, so I'm gonna jump playlists. Actually, let's try out this one. This should be a nice album. It should be a very nice album. So yeah, very nice. I'm very, very happy to see crypto space is doing well. All of the altcoins are doing well. Ethereum not doing so well. Litecoin's actually doing better than Ethereum. Here, let's move on to the next one. It's kind of whimsy music, no? Yeah, I'm gonna go back to what I was playing before. I could sure use good recommendations for music. Because I don't like playing the same soundtrack over and over and over and over again every single stream. I liked having, you know, a variety. It makes life way more interesting and a lot less boring. Alright. Let's check this out. Oh, wow. It keeps going lower on the Euro side there. Very, very cool. I'm going to keep Bitcoin up here and dollar CAD here. It's actually... We don't need dollar CAD up until we are ready. I think this is more visually appealing, right? Showing the trade. Showing that we caught the big fish. We caught the CPI fish. We caught the CPI wick. I'll have to post that in my trade logs thread in the trading group. After the stream is done, I really look forward to getting paid, man. It's been a wild ride here trying to short the euro dollar here. Especially with the super positive daily spreads. It doesn't exude a whole lot of confidence. However, what I learned, I learned this lesson a long time ago. You have to know what's going on politically and culturally in a country if you really want to trade the assets exposed to that country really well. And I knew that for many years, right? And I applied it to Canada and the United States very, very well. But I didn't know until last election in the US, after the US presidential election, that over the rest of November and December, when the German government and the French government were all collapsing and reshuffling and doing votes of confidence, I was like, oh my god, I could have made so much more money if I actually knew what was actually going on in those countries geopolitically. And then I calculated how much money I could have made, and then I got even more upset. Because I was like, damn, I really wish I could have made that money. So, guess what I did? I just got mad. I let myself get mad. And I was like, okay, I need to know what is going on in these countries. It's a big motivation why we have this research thread and why I do post a lot in these research threads. It's very, very, very important for me to, if you're going to become a trader, if you just want to become a trader and make a few $100,000, there's a lot of other professions that are arguably easier if you want to make a few $100,000. Like, you only become a trader if you want to make a few, several millions of dollars. Because there's a lot of work and a lot of time commitment that goes into it, and you have to really be autonomous, and you have to know how to do your own research, and you have to be on top of things, and you have to really trust that you're making, at least more likely than not, the right decisions. So if you're not able to trust those decisions, yeah. It's not going to work out. Oh, man. Just going through some Discord messages, responding to some guys, because we have lots of time to kill here. We have 43 minutes left till the Bank of Canada interest rate decision. Do. 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 But yeah, so far so good. Bitcoin keeps going up, 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 up. Bitcoin is up 2% just off pre-CPI stuff. So this has been a very, very, very nice run. Very, very, very nice spot for Bitcoin. And I expect it to continue rising. Quick half monthly calendar look. Sure. If I could get the calendar to check out some stuff. I mean, we have PPI tomorrow, GDP in the UK, sentiment. What's going on 2 weeks out? Inflation, core, it's PCE. Oh, March 27th, US GDP final. That is going to be important. And then we get flash PMIs on the 24th. I think I actually have a stream already pre-planned. If I check the events tab real quick. Let's see here. Events. March 21st. Oh, I just have the week ahead trade plan stream set up where we talk about the following week. So I have a week ahead trade plan there. And then on Friday, another week ahead trade plan for BOJ and BOE next week. Okay, yeah, just reading a couple of messages. Let's get back to the charts. So yeah, it's very, very, very nice having a calendar like this, right? You can just go to the Discord, check all the events, or you can actually go to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel also has all these things planned out here. I can just bring it up, right? youtube.com/Plan the Profit. Yeah, see, there we are. And then here are all the upcoming live streams. So we have PPI, we got trade plan, retail sales, BOJ, FOMC, BOE, and then a week ahead. A lot of central bank meetings next week, so yeah. If you watch the shows regularly, you probably want to make sure you have notifications on for these three here, right? BOJ, FOMC, BOE. I do want to actually triple check. Economic calendar for this week. Yeah, FOMC rate decision. Right there. Yeah. So far we've had really good trades today. We caught the top wick here, shorting Eurodollar. I still don't know why the dollar weakened here for whatever reason, but I'm glad it did because it allowed me to add at a really good price above 109, and now we are below 109, so I feel pretty good. Yep, and I gotta say, RE also are doing pretty good. We have no major disruptions to that Aussie dollar short, it seems. No major disruptions based on the information we got. Things are moving along as expected. That is, unless we get some more tariff news, right? Which is why we have the Trump Watch thread. And I'll get the RSS feed back up. You know, I don't mind paying for it, but it's like kind of annoying that we can't just get a free RSS Discord bot in. I'll go ahead and check out some other services. But someone's going to have to subscribe to the trading group because I'm starting to pay for more stuff to get us more research information here. We got to get more people in the trading group, right? Right here. And if you're interested in these indicators and actually using these things to trade, or this methodology of staying on top of information, setting expectations, reading outlooks, getting good at reading outlooks on your own, and then learning how to interpret all these fancy indicators that I make, right, on your own. Go ahead. Hop on in to the trading group, right? Check that out, man. Let's go ahead, load up a 1 hour chart. I am on the, oh wow. That is kind of nutty, but I wanted to check out the low dots. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Lows in for the day. The high and the bottom are probably in for the day. So because that's the case, let's check out the week. Yeah, that's probably the top for the week. Oh, and look, these yield spreads are coming down now. See how we have this white colored candle here? Yeah, look at that. All this red on the short-term yield spreads here on the 6 hour. Yeah. As an FYI, this was the whole write-up on the euro. Look how positive the yield spreads were going up. And now this is the first more neutral candle we're getting. So if this is the top for the week, let's go ahead and estimate where the bottom might come in. And it's quite a dispersed scatter here of where the lows come in. So given this top, and we can actually increase this search bound a bit here. Let's make that box a bit bigger. Okay, so whenever the top for a given week is somewhere in this box here, we get quite a few lows around here, which is on the 13th, when we're getting, at least for the euro area, that vote on the stimulus. So if the stimulus vote fails, I'd expect us to dump, right? I'd expect us to be done. If maybe only one of the stimulus measures pass, maybe it goes down, up, and then down here. So it's kind of, you know, same place, right? But really, if this is the top and we are making a new low for the week, it seems really like this area here is the peak that we're aiming for, right? This cluster right here and this cluster right here. So somewhere around this peak, and maybe skew a little bit lower. So somewhere around here, right? We delete all these drawings. It's gonna probably be, if I were to best guess it, right? This clump of dots. Again, this is where most of the dots are, where most of the lows are. So it's not a totally unreasonable expectation just to be making willy-nilly. But so long the yield spreads continue to roll over and go negative, and if the stimulus measures in Europe aren't met to the extent that is currently being expected in order to obtain the level of growth that's expected from those stimulus measures, then we could see a fat reversing coming in here towards the end of the let's go ahead and slap on range probabilities or probability pivots. This is a different indicator. This is seasonal data. And this is saying, yeah, 31% of the time, the top for the week comes in between R0.5 and R1. And if we check out the low data, that is, I believe, where our dots were. No, our dots are here. Right, this is where most of our dots are. Yeah. So we got to be careful about going below central pivot. I'm not too sure if we'll get that. Maybe we will actually get, you know, these crazy dots down here, you know, reverse this entire, oh my god, what if we ended up reversing this entire move? Because this entire move was based on stimulus getting passed. And if no stimulus gets passed, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's this clump of dots for where the low this week on euro dollar could come in, but there's then this clump. So this is a more like, okay, one, like you get one of the stimulus bills passed, either the infrastructure or the military bill passed here, or both, optimally. But if neither of them get passed because the Greens won't work with the CDU or the SPD, you're down here again, right? You're going to 106, and I'd be very happy, right? Because that'd be like 300 peps immediately. And as an FYI, I did catch long trades on the flip side going up here. I just didn't catch it all the way up, right? I caught this trade up. I did take a shot short here, but, you know, that was kind of dumb. That was against the yield spreads. Just because I wasn't expecting the stimulus to be such, you know, a strong thing. But that's where doing your trade research comes in handy, my guy. What does steel and aluminum look like? Tariffs tomorrow. Oh, man. Let me look at my commodities here. I know TIO is steel. I have to look at that on a daily chart here. And the data is not totally here. Maybe if you guys know the tickers, you know, any maybe CFD tickers for iron and aluminum, I'd appreciate it. So this is iron, and it's doing all right. It's hanging in there. It's been range bound between 98 and call it 106, 105. So it's been all right. Iron ore's been all right. Now, this is specifically iron ore on Canada. So this isn't really going to impact global iron ore prices. So it's not. I don't think it's going to actually impact global market prices all that much. It's more of a microeconomic impact that is going to be between Canada and the US and goods that are exchanged between Canada and the US that have iron and, you know, steel and aluminum components in them. And again, for new inventory, right? And actually no, it would impact all inventory for steel and aluminum. That's right. Yeah. But any new goods that are produced from those, that's going to be the bigger deal. That's going to be the bigger deal. When when final goods are tariffed, that's a much bigger deal. That can hit consumers a lot harder. I usually follow FEF1. Right? Oh yeah, this is just the Singaporean version of the same thing. But there's more data here. It's exactly the same thing. But there's more data here, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this to my watch list. This is a much better chart. Thank you very much for telling me. Right, because you can see it's exactly the same chart. It's just one actually has data on it. So let's get rid of the one that doesn't have data. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Harold. And I believe this is an index. Yeah, that's an index. This is the commodity, Bloomberg Commodities Index, which is rising. It's doing all right. Let's check out the calendar real quick, make sure Everything is good. 25 more minutes until Bank of Canada comes through. Let's see here. ASTL. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That looks horrible. Oh my god. That looks so bad. Oh no. Oh man. Man, what a crazy ride this has been. This is so nutty. This is on a week. These are weekly bars, right? These are weekly bars, but man, this is probably a trader's dream. Like, you know, a smart trader can really make a good living just off something like this. But then again, a good trader is going to have a whole suite of assets that they're going to be looking out for. And this would be a very, very, very sweet one to be following closely. Also, I'm gonna do something here. Hopefully that makes the chat a little easier to see. I'm gonna shrink it down just a tad. So let's see here. Studio mode. Yeah, I kind of prefer that sizing. Kind of move you guys to the right. Like that. Just so it's easier to see what you guys are saying and that the chart stuff isn't in. Maybe I need to put like a little transparent background on the chat. I can do that, just so then it's easier to read and I can actually stuff it in the corner. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and try that out for the next stream. A little transparent background. Back to studio mode. Yeah, dude. That sucks. That sucks hard. Alright. I'm gonna check on the euro. Euro is holding up. It's holding up. It's doing alright. And you can see Bitcoin pulling back some as well. Alright. 21 minutes left till Bank of Canada. Oh. U.S. Secretary of Commerce. Nothing will stop tariffs on steel and aluminum imports until we have a strong U.S. industry. We are going to add copper. So, let's check out the copper charts. HG. Let's see here, capital.com, FXCM. So copper is probably going to go higher. A tad higher. Canada has to work with us to integrate the economy. So Secretary of Commerce, Lutnick. Some foreign steel will go up in price. We are going to add copper to the tariffs. And he says that the auto tariffs are coming on April 2nd. So we are going to go to our Trump 47 tariffs and post all the important stuff. Oh, he's going. So there's going to be talks with the Canadians on tariffs tomorrow, on Thursday. Okay, so we're going to be getting hopefully more serious updates on where the US and whether the US and Canada can actually get along. And also, I'm going to forward this to the commodities channel. And because the RSS bot is down in the meantime, I'm going to post. I'm going to double check. I'm going to check his Truth Social here real quick. The last thing he posted was about Thomas Massey. Personally, I don't have enough information to kind of form my own opinion on it, right? I'm not all that familiar with Thomas Massey myself. From what I understand and from the clips that I've watched him, he seems like a guy of very good character. But man, Trump is mad at him, and we'll see if that comes to bite Trump in the butt, like a lot of people are saying will, but I kind of doubt it. Trump's got way more political clout than Massey. It doesn't necessarily make Trump right, but it is a part of what makes Trump an effective leader in being able to get his agenda done. So we'll see how history looks at it in the future, and I'm gonna do my best to educate myself on the situation and look at what people are saying in their commentary about the situation. But I don't have a strong opinion on what's going on with the Trump-Massey situation. Really, it's not as important as like the German debt break. It's like something that's immediately happening. And don't get me wrong, the vote is happening, right? For the continuing resolution budget for U.S. fiscal policy, which is quite important. I'm pretty certain that it's going to get passed. So I'm not too concerned about it. And even if it doesn't get passed, it's what, the government shuts down for maybe a week or two at most, maybe a few days. Like Massey says, these things are kind of predictable. Oh, my feedback, my replay from my live stream is just starting to show the CPI, move that we shorted earlier today. Man, that was so fun. That was such a good trade, man. Such a good trade. I mean, it'll be a good trade if all these further expectations that I have about the greens, and I think I need to clarify something. Some people might be wondering, well, if you only need a simple majority, right, 50+% of the vote in the Bundestag to get this stimulus done, and the SPD and then the CDU-CSU coalition, you know, those three groups together, they make the Grand Coalition. They have an 18-seat, 16-seat majority, I think. Why wouldn't they all just vote along their party lines, like I've said in previous streams? Well, apparently the reason why Merz, the head of the CDU, needs the Greens vote in order to make sure that the stimulus measures get passed is because apparently the CSU, the sister party of the CDU, the CSU isn't too interested in voting for the current stimulus as it is. And neither are the Greens. So it turns out there are dissenters in the coalition that's trying to be formed with the CSU dissenting. So they need the Greens to vote to make up for those dissenters in the CSU. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm interpreting, and from the information that I've read. I could be wrong. I could be maybe misunderstanding the magnitude of the situation. But it seems like most of the uncertainty about whether or not the German stimulus actually gets passed or not really depends more on the CSU actually hanging out and sticking with the CDU and SPD's goals of trying to get the stimulus passed. But they're more conservative. They're more fiscally conservative, not socially. I mean, they're fairly like center left relative to the US. Actually, they can arguably be on the more totalitarian side in some respects in regards to, freedom of speech sort of stuff. But without getting into debates about that detail. Yeah, the CSU is more fiscally conservative than the CDU SPD. And that fiscal conservativeness is creating uncertainty about whether or not they'll actually support the upcoming stimulus, which is why Merz is trying to get the Greens to back the stimulus. And the Greens want their own different kind of stimulus, right? They want their own kickbacks for their agenda from the stimulus. So, I think it'll pass because the CSU will kind of get pressured into passing the stimulus. But it's really gonna be cutting it close if they do pass it. Some Greens are gonna have to vote for it without the official party leader, the whip. They're gonna have to vote against their whips, effectively. Which isn't very good for your political career the more frequently you do that. So it's something I'm watching very, very closely. I just hope everything works out, at least in favor for my trades. I ultimately hope things work out for Germany, right? Stimulus for growth in Germany would be very, very nice. but I am not sure sending money over to Ukraine is the right form of stimulus for Germany, right? If you're trying to justify, oh, that's how we should grow the German economy is by sending money over to Ukraine, well, I don't think that's terribly smart. Don't think that's terribly smart. I think what'll be a lot smarter is stimulating German industry. Literally just subsidized more German industry. Like, put $100 billion this year into helping German businesses get back on their feet, right? Get into negotiations so then you can get better deals for German manufacturers overseas where these guys sell their products, right? The government needs to protect their companies, right? But they also need to find ways to cooperate with their allies. I mean, I'm saying very vague and general things, but it's just like, those are the things I think should be focused on and hashed out in detail, not, you know, how many rockets are we gonna send over to the Ukrainians, right? Anyways. Most people, frankly, feel that way. Most people in the US. I believe most people in Europe, frankly, feel that way. Everyone kind of wants this to end so that then we can get back to working on our own countries. Pretty sure the Russians feel the same way. They don't want to keep fighting. But we'll see, right? Trump and Putin are going to have a phone call. Way down here, right? Trump and Putin are going to speak this Friday on resolving the Ukraine conflict. So, all that stuff I just said, we'll see if I have to throw that out the door and get some new damn opinions, or if we're actually going to get some peace and we're actually going to get some real progress on peace. And hopefully a very, very good peace that helps Europe rationalize not sending more money to Ukraine and instead sending money to protect their borders and make their streets safer, right? And make their businesses wealthier. Good things, right? Quality of life things. More quality of life. How about that? That sounds like a good idea. Let's see here. Let's see here. How much more time we got until... Oh, 5 minutes. Great. Let's head over to USD CAD. And let's put euro, dollar. Actually, let's keep BTC USD on this other one here. BTC USD, all-time history, yeah. Oh look, the yield spreads are turning positive here in the short term. All right, let's go ahead and refresh real quick. Turn on the Financial Juice voice chat. So if you do hear somebody else speaking, that is the Squawk chat over in Financial Juice. Alrighty, here we go. In the next about 4 minutes here, we're going to be getting the Bank of Canada interest rate decision. Yield spreads on USD CAD have started to increase. Secretary of Commerce Lutnick for the United States said he's going to add copper to the tariffs on Canada, which also already include steel and aluminum. And he said that these tariffs will stay on until we have a strong US industry. And then Lutnick said we will bring tariffs down if other countries do the same, reiterating the Trump administration's policy of retaliatory tariffs. Lutnick also reiterated that on April 2nd, the auto tariffs will be going into effect on April 2nd, which are going to have a more serious impact on inflation immediately, as it'll impact used and new car sales. Alright, let's see what we get here out of the USD CAD.
Venezuela Business Guild calls on US and Venezuela to resume negotiations amid possible negative impact of Chevron license cancellation.
Uh-oh, that's not good. Also, I did take a long trade here. I'm going to update this in the trading group as soon as the stream is over. But because you guys are watching right now on the stream, you'll get to see me enter the position live. Alright, we should see higher USD CAD on in about 2 minutes on a 25 basis point rate cut, right? 2 minutes, we're expecting a 25 basis point rate cut.
Brazil's Haddad says Brazil would deal with US tariffs with reciprocity.
Turn up the music a tad.
Brazil saying that they're open to negotiate on US tariffs. So Brazil's Haddad saying Brazil is open to negotiate on US tariffs.
Alright, and here comes the rate decision in 1 minute.
1 minute to go now to get the Bank of Canada rate decision. 10 seconds.
Yep. 10 seconds. Watch your charts if you're trading.
Cut, 25 base point cut, 25 base point cut as expected to 2.75%. Bank of Canada says that it will carefully assess timing and strength of both downward and upward pressures on inflation. Economic outlook continues to be subject to more than usual uncertainty. He'll also be closely monitoring inflation expectations. Macklem says we're facing a new crisis. Economic impact of US tariffs could be severe. Macklem says that the Bank of Canada will proceed carefully with any further rate changes, given the need to assess both upward and downward pressure or pressures on inflation. Macklem says trade conflict with the US can be expected to increase prices and inflation and weigh on growth. Uncertainty weighing on spending tends to put downward pressure on inflation, but rising costs will exert upward pressure. Keeping medium and long-term inflation expectations well anchored is imperative to ensure any inflation rise is temporary. It will take some time for impacts of higher cost and weaker demand to work their way through the economy. Just looking at the Canadian dollar, didn't really see that much of a market reaction from it. Didn't see a tiny bit of strength, but again, not really that much. Macklem says many businesses have scaled back hiring and investment plans. Credit has become more difficult to access for some firms. Macklem says new Bank of Canada surveys data suggests tariffs and uncertainty over Canada-US trade ties are already having a big impact on business and consumer intentions. Survey suggests business intentions to raise price have increased while inflation expectations have moved up. Second quarter growth could be hit if households and business intentions remain restrained. Also, Q1 growth will likely slow as trade conflict weighs on sentiment and activity. And heightened trade tensions and US tariffs will likely increase inflationary pressures in Canada and curb growth.
Why would the Canadian dollar be getting stronger on this news?
The Bank of Canada says annual inflation rate expected to increase to about 2.5% in March as sales tax break ends. Adding that there are warning signs that heightened trade tensions could disrupt jobs market recovery. And short-term inflation expectations have risen in light of fears about impacts of tariffs.
I'm not sold on this dip. I'm not out of this. I'm not getting out of this. I'm not sold on this dip being an exit.
Canadian dollar extending gains after Bank of Canada decision, up about 0.3%.
Why would the Canadian dollar get stronger?
Also, the rate statement has been put out on the Financial News feed for you to read through. So it's just after the rate decision figure came out, it's there.
Because if it's going to impact inflation and growth, wouldn't the Bank of Canada need to be cutting more and faster? Buy the rumor, sell the fact. Yeah, all that. Buy the rumor, sell the.
Just keep an eye on the markets here. S&P 500, just seeing some movement towards the downside. No news to back of the movement that we can see from the headlines so far. But if there is a headline, we'll relay that to you as soon as we can.
All that buy the rumor, sell the news stuff, or sell the rumor, buy the news. I don't subscribe to those views. No.
Just seeing American Airlines, the Bank of America Global Research cuts price objective to $16 from $20.
Wow, Bitcoin is taking a hit. It can't be because of Canada, could it? That doesn't make too much sense to me.
So we were also expecting to hear from ECB's Nagel. Nothing's come from him as of yet. No text or Q&A was expected.
Let me take
Canada's
a quick
2-year yield claws back much of earlier decline to trade 1.1 base points lower at about 2.518%.
Nothing going on here on the Euro side. Aussie's doing all right. New Zealand's doing all right. Pound's doing all right. How about the equities? S&P is doing a-okay. Looks like it's not holding up past the CPI here, sadly.
Canadian swaps market, according to Bank of Canada Watch, see roughly 50% chance of another Bank of Canada rate cut in April.
See what I mean? Like, that should be viewed as negative. So I went ahead and added. I don't see a reason why not at the moment, given the information that we currently know. That is 1.43997. And again, I got my fingers on triggers here, so these are just illustrative, right? These stops aren't the real stops. I got my fingers on the news. I'm looking at stuff come in. And when I
Putin likely to eventually agree to truce, but with own terms. So again, Putin likely to eventually agree to truce, but with own terms. I did see a little bit of Dancer Moon on WTI just from that there.
Yeah, 50-50 is an improvement, right? So here's Bank of
From this
Canada.
here, Putin is likely to try and drag out the timeline for agreeing any such cessation of hostilities to make sure the most favorable terms possible are secured for Moscow, according to several people with knowledge of the situation. While the Russian leader will probably agree to evaluate truce terms with Ukraine, he wants to make sure his own conditions are included beforehand, according to people familiar with the matter.
We're getting
Canada
peace deal.
to put tariffs on US steel and aluminium in new measures.
Let's put
Fed
that
now
in
seen
the
resuming
research
interest
thread.
rate cuts in July versus June earlier, based on short-term interest rate futures prices.
Put that in the general chat because that's a big one. But yeah, a 25 basis point rate cut is expected at the April meeting with 44% odds from the Bank of Canada. So the odds here are 50-50. This is odds increasing in favor of a rate cut. And also, rate cut odds for the Federal Reserve just went lower. So no Fed rate cut in May means 3 rate cuts instead of 4. So instead of 100 basis points of rate cuts, we're getting 75 priced in. And it looks like Canada is going to be putting on their own steel and aluminum tariffs now. So they're Canada's getting into a trade war. It looks like Canada's now getting into a trade war with the US. So we do not want to own Canadian dollars. At least I, don't. It's the royal we, just for clarification. The royal.
Morgan Stanley cuts target price for Apple to $252 from $275. Germany, Saxony State Premier Kretschmer says all 16 leaders agreed we want to get a sensible end to discussion on change to constitution.
Yeah, man, things are moving fast now in the stream, huh? Oh, just looking at the technicals, USD CAD keeps bumping up
Adding that,
against
it's
the
essential that
central.
compromise is found so that Germany can function.
Has to break above that level and hold. Are you looking at some weekly pivots, Denise? We can bring up pivots. You know I'm the pivots guy, right? We can bring up some pivots here. Oh, I'm very happy. It's now in positive territory. Good, 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 good. Let's see here. Monthly pivots. Okay. Let's hide the drawings real quick. Yeah, so that's likely the low for the month, right? 27% of the time, the low for the month comes in here. Let's go ahead and look at our monthly high odds, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's do a monthly trade plan here live on the stream. Let's do a monthly trade plan live on the stream. Oh, that doesn't look so hot. Those dots are actually quite dispersed. That means we have to increase the size of this box to get more samples. So it looks like around here. Yeah, I'm just going to. Man, that's nice little sax there. Gotta turn that down just a tad. Alright, let's hide the drawings and use some drawings. So we have this cluster around here, maybe not that one, and then kind of that fat cluster. The problem is that all these are very high variance. The dispersion between all these dots is kind of nutty. We don't have a whole lot of data, so we're going to have to increase our search bounds here. Yeah, so it's more. It is looking more like the top for the month probably comes in around.
So just confirmation from Canada's finance minister that Canada will impose 25% retaliatory tariffs on US goods worth 29.8 billion Canadian dollars worth from March 13th.
Alrighty. Also, we're gonna go back over here to Russia-Ukraine war and cross-post that huge thing on Putin looks for truce. So quick. So Putin looks for a way to agree to truce terms with his own conditions, according to several people familiar with the situation. President Vladimir Putin is likely to try to extend the timeline for agreeing to any such cessation of hostilities in order to secure the best possible terms for Moscow. While the Russian leader is likely to agree to eventual truce terms with Ukraine, he wants to ensure
US
that
Treasury yields per earlier increase, 10-year yield.
He wants to ensure that his own conditions are included first, according to a source familiar with the Kremlin's thinking. Russian officials did not discuss with their U.S. counterparts the specific agreement reached by the Ukrainian delegation in the Saudi Arabian city on Tuesday, and the Kremlin considers that framework unacceptable according to the person. So, looks like we are in for some more negotiations with the Russians. So there's extra data here, Denise, that we have to take into consideration, right? So lows made around here when we get enough samples here, when we expand this box to get enough samples of like, okay, lows in this box for the month give us tops for the month around here, making an assumption that the low for the month came in somewhere around here. This is where respective following tops came in. And that's more or less going to put me in line with setting this kind of expectation. But we do have these political happenings going on. So we could end up here very, very, very easily, depending on how bad the tariffs get. So real quick, 2025-03, and it is the 12th. I woke up super early, so is it the 11th? Is it the 13th? All right, and this is 0701. Timestamp our expectations. I have the expectation that these tariffs are going to continue escalating, so that's why I'm setting my expectation to these dots way up here, right? Rather than these dots here. In a more normal situation without all these things with the tariffs and whatnot, I'd be targeting here, right? But I'm going to set my expectation up here. And then when Parliament gets back, there's going to be all sorts of people saying, Carney, you're incompetent. You got us into a trade war with the United States, right? So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how things go. Oh, that trade's no longer a profit. Oh no. I'm pretty sure it'll stay a profit by the end of the day. I'm feeling pretty sure. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. And now I gotta reduce this. You know, that's the one thing I really want to get set up for this indicator, is just automatically giving you the right percent bounds and the right bar settings. But the problem is if you know, I tried a few ways of automating this. It hasn't been great. It hasn't been great, I gotta say. But I'll go ahead and check it out. Oh, how's DXY? That is a good question. How is DXY? Well, net on the day, DXY is green, right? It'll be still kind of funny if this actually is the low for the month. Again, excuse me. I really would like this to be the low for the DXY because I'm, trying to get long the thing. But we do have a peak in our probability distribution highlighted by this drawing over here. The top for the day on the DXY could be in. This could be the top for the day on the DXY. Let me reduce that a little bit, see if we get mostly dots hanging around here once it updates. Yeah, you can see that a little more clearly, can't you, on the charts, right? You got a cluster right here and a cluster right here, and the current high is right there at the X. So far, everything's going so good. So far, so good. I'll just remind everybody now, if you're watching, remember to like. It's been a very long stream. It's taken quite not a terrible amount of effort, but just waking up super early, doing all this stuff, the basics, and doing it consistently. It'll be great when the streams are larger. It'll feel like putting in the effort to get this done. But you know what? These sorts of things, they don't grow until you've kind of proven yourself, right? And so I'm proving myself. We're getting these streams a rocking and a rolling. We're providing value. We're doing programming. We're doing trading, right? Alrighty, my man. Catch you in a bit. Ah, boy, oh boy. I think that's going to be it for most of the news today, honestly. I would be surprised if there were more news reports that kind of came in immediately here. Oh no. The poor Canadian. Oh, no. How about the euro? Yeah, that euro trade is still kicking butt. Check that out. These 2 euro trades still kicking butt. They are doing pretty good, I'd say. And let's check out the yield spreads, see how those are holding up here. Yeah, it's pretty negative now. We went from like 8.7 to 5. That's a pretty decent change here. So we'll see if that's the top here on the euro. That's really going to depend on how the stimulus votes go tomorrow, more so than the yields, right? How the stimulus votes go in Europe tomorrow is going to really determine how euro dollar continues to trade from here. And then whether or not we continue to see an escalation in tariff war here between the United States and Canada. I mean, if the tariff war does go on, this thing is going to go up and away, way up, because Bank of Canada will go above this high. I'm pretty certain to do that if they get into a trade war. Let's go ahead and say this was the first time tariffs were put on. So this is the Feb 1st tariffs. And we'll go ahead and set an alert. USD CAD past Feb 1st tariffs. And we'll just say that's 10479. And round it off. Alright, sweet. Now we got an alert set up there. So if Canada gets into a trade war with the US over the next, week, wouldn't be surprised to see that occur. Oh, and then guess what? If Canada does get into a trade war, and Carney is to blame for it, while the parliament is prorogued, as soon as the parliament gets back, if everyone is so pissed off at the way Carney has handled the tariffing by getting Canada into a trade war, there will immediately be a vote of no confidence that occurs. And Carney will, I'd rather say vote of confidence and Carney fails the vote of confidence rather than usually when you read news, they say a vote of no confidence passed, right? I'd rather just say the vote of confidence failed. Try and put things in the affirmative first rather than the negative. Makes things easier when you negate the thing, right? It's like how 2 negatives make a positive. It's like that can be confusing when you put that into legal sense and words. It's like, well, does that mean that they have confidence in him or they don't have confidence in him, right? So it's just, I've had those discussions with people before talking about this. So it's like, going into Parliament after prorogue, if Canada gets into a trade war, I could easily see Carney, a vote of confidence being brought to the floor against Carney and him failing. You guys can tell me if that makes sense or not. I think that makes sense. I think that makes pretty good sense. I don't think that's too hard to understand. Thanks a million, Joe. Yes, sorry. Oh, yeah. All right, that makes sense, Niece. Great. Oh man, it was a really good stream today. I mean, it was a long stream, but you know, there's not too many streams. I mean, I have several streams where I trade, but you know what? Today we got some trades on. Those trades have been so far so good. We've done some good analysis. We've set some good expectations. Oh yeah. We're not gonna do that during the stream. Yeah, I'll be posting a link in the central bank's channel. You know, I know Denise, you're smart enough to get the link on your own and watch it, but for anyone who wants to, you know, Bank of Canada press conference, listen to what the governor has to say at the Bank of Canada. I'll go ahead and find the link and post it here in the central banks. Or Denise, if you got the link anyway and you can post it in here, I'd appreciate that. That, you know, one less thing for me to do. I'd appreciate that if you could. Alrighty. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. I think the trades are gonna end up working out because all of our expectations, I think, are pretty well set, and the conditions we have on those expectations are also very clearly laid out. So I'm gonna be ready, willing, and able to change my expectations if any of the assumptions I've set up and kind of discussed during this stream change. And if you want some immediate feedback on when I do change my expectations, I post those in a trade log here. Right? This is in the BoC trading group. You get access to this over here in the WAP, links in the description and all that. Same place you get access to the Discord. And by joining the trading group, you get access to trade logs, where you can also post your own trade log, the trading group, where we do a lot of extra research outside of these streams, and access to all of these indicators, not just one, all of these indicators. And I'll show you how to use them. And if you're cautious about spending $100 a month and wondering if it's good, it's really good value for $100. But start a 10-day trial and actually see for yourself. All right, and then sometime I'll figure out when to do the secondary Pine Script stream. I really just want to do it when I'm relaxed and chill and not doing tons of trade research, because over the next 48, 72 hours, I'm going to be getting a lot of trade research and having to do, update a lot of expectations and do a lot of writing here. So I think for this week, there's going to be a stream on Saturday, and then, next week I'm going to look at the calendar, look at the schedule, and then I'm like, okay, this is going to be a really chill day. I can do a programming stream, an extra programming stream. So for now, we're going to have the programming streams always on Saturday, right? The 1 hour programming stream. And man, you get a lot done in an hour or two of programming. So again, if you want to hop into the Discord, that's right here, Planet Profit Community. Links to all these things are in the description. If you want some free indicators, you can just go to my TradingView account and pick up a couple of indicators here. And those programming streams are actually about these free indicators and other free indicators, open source indicators that I haven't published yet. All these indicators are going to be getting updates and new features, and that's what those programming streams are going to be all about, is updating the whole open source suite of indicators and releasing new stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can watch that. If you want to just hang out with me, you can hang out with me in the streams too. But you can also hang out with me anytime during these trading streams, where we can get some trading done, use these indicators, and man, outside of the stream, you'll probably want to be in the trade. Alright. Oh. Canada's Foreign Minister jolly. Canada to work with Europe to put pressure on Trump administration. Okay. Canada is getting into a trade war with the US. I am pretty sold on it now. Canada is trying to get into a trade war with the United States. This kind of talk from the foreign minister, Canada to work with. That is, yeah, the Europeans are gonna want to stay, keep Canada away with a 10-foot pole. Europe should not go anywhere near Canada right now. Keep them away like a 10-foot pole, because they will be toxic to Europe's own tariff negotiations with the United States. So Canada and Europe better not try and do that, otherwise they're both gonna get hit. They're both gonna get hit hard. So I don't think the Europeans wanna do that. There's a larger consensus in Europe now to try and work with Trump at this point. Alright, with that all said and done, I'll say thank you all very much for watching. This has been a very successful stream. A lot of likes, a lot of views, relative to the small channel, right? It's growing, it's getting, the people who know who I am are coming back and watching. And I'm seeing all sorts of familiar faces like Denise and Ari. Right? Harold. Harold's always here, Ari's always here. It's very nice to see you in here. Denise as well as the new face, right? Knitten. We're starting to get a few new faces into the streams. It's very, very nice. And I hope to see some of you guys in the trading group sometime in the future. Alright. That is all. I will see you guys in a bit for tomorrow's stream. And tomorrow's stream, as I roll the outro here, tomorrow's stream, for those of you still listening, US PPI, German debt break vote, and the stimulus vote. That's going to be at 3 a.m. tomorrow. It's going to be a 4-hour stream because we're going to be watching the German debt break debates. The whole Bundestag has a live stream. We're going to be watching that. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching, everybody on WAP, everyone on... Well, I don't think there was anybody on Kick or Twitch today, but everybody on YouTube, everybody from Discord. Thank you very much. Thank you. Alrighty, guys. In a bit.